One dark night, I was on duty and experiencing one of the coldest nights of my life. Thankfully, I had a large burning fire keeping me company and soothing my cold, freezing self. This was still preferable to my time battling in jungles and other tough terrain throughout the Pacific. But this didn't mean I didn't encounter some trouble. I realized quickly I wasn't alone. On the other side of the fire, I noticed something angry. It was staring at me and exposing its fangs. After experiencing tough times on the battlefield, my healing process began during my post-war occupation duty. Japan had surrendered, and this was my last step before finally heading home. My stay was largely uneventful until one night I encountered an enemy I'd never had to face before. This beast, as I called it at the time, had the look of pure evil on its face and looked ready to take me down. I instantly pulled out my pistol and pointed it at the beast. We stared at each other. I think the beast had been stalking me patiently for some time and stopped in its tracks because I eventually spotted it. The stare down continued until eventually it must have decided to give up and quickly disappeared into the shadows. I still didn't know what I was dealing with. I was on duty again the next night and ensured to be on alert in case this beast decided to return. Suddenly, I hear a sound. What is it? I couldn't figure it out. It was getting louder and more frequent. I suddenly realized what it was, the sound of footsteps. Who on earth could this be? Why are they in such a rush? I then realized the footsteps were turning into a full-on sprint. I, for the second night in a row, pulled out my pistol. From afar in the dim light, I saw a young Chinese man. He's running towards me. He was yelling for help and looked absolutely petrified. As he ran towards me, I noticed something behind him, chasing him with ferocious pace. It was dark, but I saw his eyes. I recognized those eyes. The beast had returned. I was prepared to fire when the beast was out of the darkness. I suddenly realized what I was up against. It was a dog, a magnificent German Shepherd. I came to realize this was the most tremendous, beautiful dog I'd ever seen. Being such a huge dog lover myself, I could not bear to pull the trigger, even under those dangerous circumstances. I'd never killed a dog, and I couldn't imagine myself having to pull the trigger and end its life. What irony it was. Not even months before I had fought in many famous battles and killed fellow humans without any hesitance or remorse. Now this huge, snarling, vicious dog was threatening me and this Chinese man, and I couldn't shoot it, although I again was pointing the pistol right at him. For the second night in a row, we were at a standoff. Another stare down, more growling, neither ready to back down. I again stood my ground, did not fire a single shot. Once again, thankfully, the dog faded away into the shadows. After reporting the incident, I learned how this dangerous dog managed to get to me 2 nights in a row. I was told that this big dog was a real threat. Apparently he was one of several trained guard dogs the Japanese had used in patrolling nearby areas before they surrendered. After the Japanese surrendered and evacuated, they decided to release the dogs so they could cause as much trouble as possible. I'm glad I did not have to destroy this magnificent beast, but I'm also glad he didn't destroy me nor the young Chinese man. I never ran into another one after this night, but was always having a good look into the darkness.